Hey guys, welcome to another week of Get Your Shit. I know you saying, wait a minute, I thought it was two people. Where's Stacy at? Well, Stacy had some other plans and other things she had to get done today, but because last week's episode was so intriguing, we were like, we can't skip it. We got to keep going. And then next week her birthday, you know how she is. She said she turned 61. She gonna party, so we don't know how next week gonna go. But like I said, last week was so awesome that Mr. Anthony is back. So everyone say hey to Mr. Anthony.
Y'all, what up, though? That's Detroit.
All right, Detroit. And Mr. Anthony, today we're going to touch on a few more things about last week's episode with AIDS and with HIV and AIDS, because that one really got us going. And then Stacy was on this syphilis thing. Like, wait a minute, it blew her. So we're gonna follow the rest of the episode up with some syphilis and some stats and treatments and take care of yourself. So first, let's go ahead, Mr. Anthony.
Well, how y'all doing tonight? So the last week we talked, I just want to touch base on some clarity with that Bible Belt geographic location in the country where we see the HIV rates are higher. So I did mention because of the Bible Belt, which we know the religion component of Christianity, and it's disagreeing with taboo subjects, don't want to speak on it. So kind of like an out of sight, out of mind. So that's part of it. But the other part, which I think is very important, which I did not say, it is the rural areas. So those rural areas have little to no clinics to address those with needs for HIV treatment and medication. And those locations can be a distance. So transportation can be an issue, as well as those clinics, or some clinics may be in the bigger city, which could be some miles away from those rural areas. So I think that's part of the reason why we see such high rates in those Bible areas, because of those rural areas. They're just not getting access to care, and they could be uninsured, unemployed, or underinsured. But here in the state of Michigan, I'm not sure about those other states. Michigan is a tad bit more progressive. So we have a program with the state. It's called Medigap. So it fills in the gap for those who are underinsured, so they can get their HIV meds to prevent them from getting hindered into care and keep themselves healthy. So that's what I wanted to talk about last week that I didn't get a chance.
Medigap, I've never heard of that. We need to research that and bring that up on the ballot in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, you guys do. Yeah, it's a progressive state.
Let me see. You just said something else right before that, though. You said rural cities, small areas out there in Bubbleton, meaning that they don't have clinics. And I know I'm going to sound real crazy when I say this, but the first thing that popped up in my head was kissing cousins, and y'all ain't doing nothing else. That's all you got to do is be out in the yard and messing around. And so we like spreading this thing in full circle, and we don't have access to take care of yourselves. You don't have access to, get those checks that you need. So it kind of like bubbles over until somebody say, I'm tired of this town, and then they get out type of deal.
Yeah, that definitely can happen. And again, because the small towns and you only have one clinic or some distance away, that can cause that delay in care, because people know what those clinics are for. If it comes to a small town, they know that that clinic is for HIV testing, treatment, etc. So some people might be a little reluctant to that. So that's par for the course as well sometimes. The other thing I do want to point out, that they do have a Ryan White program that's federal. So the Ryan White program, which we know about Ryan White, the young fellow who got infected with HIV through blood transfusion, I think, back in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. And so they named this program after him, and it covers those who are HIV positive to get into care and get their treatment without being concerned about the pay. But remember, it's not an insurance; it's a program, and a program can end at any time, depending on what the government says they want to keep or not keep. And for the Ryan White program, it's only going to pay for HIV care and treatment, nothing else. So if you have high blood pressure, cholesterol, those other kind of medical problems, it's not going to address. If it's related to HIV, then it will address it. So I do want to put that out there. So there is a program to help.
Okay, and it's a federal program.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So we should be able to go to Grady Hospital if we down here and say, hey, is the Ryan White program available? Do you know if there are any stipulations or what's the word, guidelines that you must meet to be able to receive this other than being diagnosed?
Yeah, so if you have your own private insurance, then you probably won't qualify for it because it's kind of like state Medicaid. And
Okay.
so state Medicaid is the eligibility for those who don't have insurance. And maybe if you're underinsured, you might or possibly can get some Ryan White funding or assistance. I'm not a case manager, so I don't really know all the details to that, but it is available. The other thing is, too, those clinics that rely on Ryan White payments or funding, it's a delay, it's here. So the federal government sends that money down to the state, and then the state, probably in Georgia, sends it to Atlanta to distribute amongst those counties. And so anytime you're dealing with government, it's always a slow process. And those doctors, they may not want to go through that because they need their money.
Yeah. And oh Lord, who knows when they'll get paid?
Yeah, it can take a while. It can take a while.
All right, we're gonna put some information about the Ryan White program up on the screen as well as down in the description. And also we'll try to figure out how we can get some Medigap down here, unless we have it in. It might be another name. I have noticed that a lot of states have the same programs, it just be under a different name. So we're gonna do some digging and put some information up about Medigap. In the Ryan White program, like I said, on the screen and down in the description.
Right. And the other last thing, we did talk about PrEP. So that's pre-exposure, but they do have PEP. So that's post-exposure. So if you think you've been exposed to HIV, you can get PEP. It's the medicine, the same for the most part that they use for PrEP, or they may use a different combination. But nonetheless, it's kind of like that morning after pill for female or women. To prevent pregnancy. So you have to take that within 72 hours of possible exposure, and you have to take it for 28 days, and it can reduce the possibility of getting infected with HIV about 80%.
So wait, they give you a pack of pills, look like a pack of birth control pills, and you take it one every day for 28 days?
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's a pack or a bottle or what, but nonetheless, they do distribute those pills. Now, it probably is a cost involved. Because say, for instance, somebody got on the job injury, if you needle stick in the hospital and you were afraid that it's possible HIV, then you can start taking PrEP that way. PEP that way. So it's many variables to why take PEP, but again, it is for those who have possibly exposed. PrEP prevents exposure. PEP is after exposure, so that's post.
Gotcha. Okay. Look, you already know we're gonna put some information out there because I just learned something else. Now I gotta go do digging. Now I am. I gotta.
There's one more. We could segue into syphilis from this. There is a doxy PrEP. So it's doxycycline. It's an antibiotic that they give out for those who prevent syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. So if you take this doxy PrEP after sex, you can prevent getting infected with syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. It's a 200 milligram doxycycline. It's just a one time. So they're working diligently to try to get these numbers down and get people into care or get them not being infected.
I see. So you just take some antibiotics after, and we're going to wash all that stuff. I guess that's what it's for, antibiotics.
But it's a certain one. It's doxy. So it's doxycycline.
Doxycycline. Okay.
And it's
So people can go to the
200 milligrams.
clinic, 200 milligrams. So we can go to the clinic and say, look, I need some Doxy. They already know. Wow.
So again, taking it within a certain period of time, that can possibly prevent syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea infection. I
Wow.
think that's pretty cool.
I mean, it is like, man, I'm glad I'm married. That's all I can. Woo, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. You have some people in situations where that don't mean nothing. But so I have to say, I'm so blessed and so happy that I am happily and committedly married.
That's a good thing. It's a lot involved with intimacy and relationships. It really is. But fortunate, CDC and the medical community are trying their best to stay on top of things. But we also have to do our part. You have to make sure you choose your partners, wear protection, and then they do have these preps and PEPs available in the event that you think you may have been exposed to something.
Wow. Okay, well, since we have segued into one way to now, I guess, prevent after exposure of syphilis, other than abstinence, we talk about getting reducing our exposure or our of getting syphilis. Like, is there? And this might sound stupid, but what signs do you look for on the outside? Like herpes have the bumps and all of that stuff. If I get with somebody and I'm peeping, is there something that I can look for to say, hey, wait a minute, this ain't right, that's syphilis?
Yeah, that's a good point. So syphilis does have symptoms. It's called a chancre, and unfortunately, I don't have pictures, but you can always pull them up on CDC's website.
And I will put some on the screen.
Right. So it's a chancre, and it on the penis, vaginal, labia, or the anal, or the tongue. So contact with that sore is how one gets syphilis. So it's a sore, a chancre or a sore. That's the initial contact. That's how you get it. So it has an incubation period. So typically 10, 21, 90 days after contact with that chancre, then you will see the syphilis come up on you. Now it's painless and odorless. So when you said peeping, that is a good idea, but most people just not gonna peep and check out the genital areas before engaging in sex. So it's kind of a done deal.
I like the out.
But the anus or the vaginal, chances are probably not going to do that. However, you can check the tongue, the lip, or the penis. It's very defined in those spots. But again, remember, it's painless and odorless. So if someone has that chancre in the cavities of the anus or the vaginal area, chances are they may not even know it.
Oh, wow. So it's just we're going to pull up pictures. Okay. So you said it's pink, so it don't pop. It's just literally a bump.
Well, it's a sore. So I don't want to say it's a bump, but it's a sore. And when you pull pictures up, you'll be able to see it more clearly. It'll make sense to you. But that sore will go away on its own without any treatment. So that's called the primary or first stage of syphilis. After that lasts for about 3 to 6 weeks. Then it goes to the second stage of syphilis. So the second stage of syphilis shows symptoms as well. It's a rash on the palms of your hand, the bottom of your feet, or the soles of your feet. It can be alopecia. Alopecia is like little hair loss on the sides. And it can be a body rash on the torso. So those are the secondary signs of symptoms.
So wait a minute. Question? You can get syphilis, have a bump, a sore, and you can just think it's a cold sore if it's on your mouth, and it lasts for a couple weeks. It go away, and then you be like, "Oh, wait a minute! Now I got this rash."
Yeah, that's true. And syphilis is known as the silent killer, because again, those symptoms will disappear without any treatment, or if you happen to take some incidental treatment. So in other words, if you got some antibiotics for something else, or the antibiotic cream because you got this rash on your hand, it may clear up the symptom, but it's not enough, or it isn't the specific kind of antibiotics to kill the bacteria of syphilis. So just keep that in mind.
Wow. So amoxicillin, when my tooth hurt, it'll slow it down, but it ain't gonna get rid of it.
No, you need a specific treatment, and it is doxycycline. So that primary, which is first stage of syphilis, and the secondary stage of syphilis is doxycycline twice a day for 14 days. That will cure it. If you have tertiary unknown or latent syphilis, then you need the doxy twice a day for 28 days, or you can get the bicillin, the shot. And it's, again, for primary and secondary, it's one shot, and it's in the glutes. And I hear those shots hurt, but that's what they got. And if it is latent, unknown syphilis, unknown duration, then it's 3 shots intermittently, 7 to 10 days. So you have to keep that schedule. If not, you got to start all over. And again, I heard those shots hurt, so you don't want to start all over again.
No.
And typically that treatment is free at your local health department. Across the country. And it cures it. It cures it.
Sure.
Because it's bacteria. It cures it.
Okay. So that's very important to know that this is a bacteria. I mean, I guess you put 2 and 2 together, you say antibiotics, but some people may not put those together. But syphilis is a bacteria. All right.
Correct.
So do you tell people, hey, I've had syphilis, or once it's clear, you're done? How does that work?
That's a good question. So you will always test positive for syphilis, but it doesn't mean necessarily that you have it again. Again, if those symptoms are present, then yeah. Also, if you have a rise in titer, so it's recorded. So our state, and I'm pretty sure all the states have a database of syphilis cases. And so once you look in those lab tabs, you can see where those titers are. And when you run that test again, if those titers rise to delusion or 4 delusion without any symptoms present, then it's safe to say that's a new case of syphilis. Treat accordingly. But you will always have the antibody, the positive syphilis. It's just the way it is, because what happens is when a foreign invasion comes into our body, our immune system makes antibodies. Those are sort of like our defense. It sends it back into the blood to fight this invader out of our bodies. But again, you can get syphilis multiple times, but the good thing is curable. But I want to make a note that so syphilis scientific is the Treponema palladium. So the palladium is a bacteria. So in African nations and those Middle East countries and India, they have a bacteria. It's a palladium, but it's not the Treponema. And it's called yawns, YAWNS. And you will test positive for syphilis if you have yawns. It's the same treatment, but it's not syphilis, but it's a cousin to the palladium, the Treponema palladium. It's the bacteria. So we have people who come over from immigrations, especially from those countries I named. They always have a positive, for the most part, syphilis. So we have to treat them with the syphilis medicine. But it's not syphilis, it's yawn.
Wow. And then I do see it also can be transmitted from mother to fetus. It's called congenital syphilis. So the baby getting syphilis during childbirth, is it treated? How would you treat a baby? With the same antibiotic? Too strong? Or
they wouldn't give the baby the shots, and the baby couldn't take the pills, but they would do IV treatment. And that's the treatment they use for a neurosyphilis, IV treatment, to get into your to your body that way, so it can stop the damage that syphilis can cause. And remember, like I said the last time, syphilis can cause arthritis of the heart, the joints, blindness, insanity. You can die from it. So it's very important to get tested for it.
Now,
Al
you
Capone,
said,
famous person.
yes. Now, you said some, I don't know if you can answer this question, but it's just the first thing that pops in my head. We are getting vaccines for all of these other bacteria that are in the world. Why is syphilis, why wouldn't syphilis or any of these other STIs slash STDs have vaccines that you can start getting at 13?
Well, they do have that for HPV, but I
Yeah.
guess, and again, I'm not a scientist, so I really don't know, but I'm going to guess is because it might be much more complex or complicated than they can handle or come up with at this time. But they do have medicines out to take care of that. Unlike HPV, they have the vaccine, but which is genital wart, human papilloma virus. But that's they will or can freeze off the warts, but there are no pills or injection to take for that. Unlike herpes, there are pills that they can take, Valtrex or Cyclovir, which can keep those outbreaks from occurring.
Now, HPV is like on the surface of the skin type of deal. It only sits on the surface. You can tell
Yeah,
that.
it's a virus. So viruses, they stick with you. They're in that blood. But again, you did make that point about vaccine. They do have that vaccine for that HPV and hepatitis. Some hepatitis they have vaccines for.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, here I am. I was looking. I see that between 2018 and 2022, that the syphilis cases have been increased over 80%. And that 80%. So it's gone from 115,000 cases to over 277,000 cases. So my question is, what do you think would be the factor in just this disease shooting like that, skyrocketing?
Well, syphilis has a life of its own, really. It trends, it ebbs and flows. It's just been that way for the longest. And people now are more comfortable in their skin, their sexuality, and the attitude towards sex has changed tremendously. Sex is not always a lovey-dovey relationship. It's just hookups or friends with benefits. That's it. We have apps now. We have those websites to hook up. There's a website for those who are HIV positive, so you can hook up with somebody who already positive, so you don't have to worry about it in their mindset going over, are you positive? Well, you're on this website, so I know you're positive. So let's just.
And then I learned from you last week that you can get 2 times HIV. So
you can get it multiple times.
I don't want to be. I got 3 HIVs right now, y'all, but we on this site. I look, that one kind of got to me. But it didn't have to put everybody on the site. That way you ain't gonna ask.
Yeah, we got to go through it. But yeah, sex is more accessible. Again, you can pull up an app on your phone, and I think it's kind of like a GPS where somebody in that area, y'all could drive to them, hook up to them, and your phone go off, and hey, I like you, you like me, let's do it.
Wow. I mean, I guess, look, we can say so much about that because I feel like if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Be free. Yay. But you just got to be careful with things like that. So that's a whole nother 15 shows. Sexual and liberation.
Yes. But the other thing is too, I think it's important to know what syphilis is, the signs and symptoms, and also be diligent with your care. Go to your doctor, ask your doctor about it. Get the test. Again, as I said this the last time, it's not all, HIV and syphilis is not always included in that CDC, that complete blood count at your doctor's office. So you have to establish a relationship with your doctor, talk about your sexuality, sexual desires, or your sexual activities with your doctor if you feel comfortable. And then that doctor, hopefully in the realm of care, they will go on and add those tests on. So that way you can know where you are and how to get treated, because that's the most important thing. I read those same statistics, and they said that was the highest in 2020, from 2018 to 2022, that they had since the 1950s.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Since the 1950s. Y'all had all these other diseases. You just had to bring some back. They say history repeats itself. Yes. I mean, but then you just said, talk to your doctor if you're comfortable. That's a whole nother 15 shows right there. When you go to your healthcare provider, that's the one person, tax person and your doctor. Them the two people you don't need to be lying to. Those are the two people that you need to be completely honest. And yes, we want to say, your spouse and your parents, IRS man and your doctor. They should know you just as much as you know yourself. Because you might just be talking about your symptoms, or you may just be talking about what's going on, but an in-tune practitioner could say, wait a minute, those are signs to this and this. Hey, we might need to run that, or have you done this? So please going to these doctors, make sure you find somebody that you mesh well with. Don't just go because I need to go to a doctor and I'm gonna get these tests. You got to mesh well with somebody. Try to find somebody that you are comfortable with.
I agree. There are some practitioners who kind of specialize in sexual health.
Mm-hmm.
So that might ease the pain or make some people more comfortable than their regular doctors, if you will, if they don't feel comfortable with those conversations. But also the local health department, they specialize in STD care. So I have heard just about everything you can hear around STD and STI. So nothing surprises me for the most part. I get shockers every now and then, but for the most part, after 24 years, it don't catch me off guard.
Look, I'm going to say after 24 years, you don't probably said, man, I ran into that 2 years ago. You just did it a little different. I mean, think about it. Cinderella, that story has been told how many times? They just throw some more stuff in there. So, I can imagine 24 years, you done seen some things and heard some things.
Yes, I have. I love public health. It's quite rewarding for me. And for those who are interested, look up public health curriculum at your university. It's a broad study. It's a broad. You don't have to do STI. It's a lot of communicable diseases, immunizations, smoking cessation, healthy pregnancies. It just cover a gamut. Environmental testing, the waters, things of that nature for bugs, mosquitoes. So public health covers a whole gamut of things.
And you don't really think about that. You see, like, dang, how they get that job? What you have to study for that? So public health. So you said health departments, you can do working with people. What about animals? Oh, sorry.
They do animals. I don't work in that department, but if it's a rabies case, then yeah, the health department does get involved.
Right, the regular people health department?
Yep. So it's a special department. I want to say environmental or maybe some type of animal control component. Mm-hmm. So they have to, I think they have to decap the animal. Not them, but wherever the facility goes, and run those tests to see if that animal had rabies. So yeah, raccoons, possum, rats, dogs, cats. And speaking of animals, I'm glad you said that. And I wanted to mention it the last time, and this is going to blow your mind. You think I blow your mind with the other stuff. There is a feline version of HIV, but we can't say HIV because HIV is human immunodeficiency virus. But there's a feline, so that means cats get this virus, what we call HIV. Hello.
So, to me, that says at some point, HIV got to come from bestiality. It wasn't just,
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, people can do some strange stuff. And like I had mentioned, they did say something about it in the bush meat in Africa from the monkeys they were chopping up to eat. But I also did mention about Africa with HIV, and I know we keep going vacillating back and forth. And I mentioned the female circumcision and the tribal scars in the male circumcision. Well, they use the same knife or cutting tool, and it's not disinfected. So that's kind of how it spreads so rapidly as well.
Okay. So cats, stray cats, house cats. So okay. So you go to the health department, not the health department. What do you call it? The Fulton County
Animal control.
There we go. And you say, "Oh, the pound." So I'm going to go get a cat. They test the cats for syphilis, HIV and all of that stuff when you get a cat.
Well, remember, it's not HIV. We can't say
HIV. FIV.
But I got what you're saying. I'm not sure. I don't work in that department. I'm pretty sure that adopted pets do go through some type of exam and blood draw to measure or to see if there's anything, because they will put those animals down if they have something that's contagious or possibility will kill them. Animals get just about everything we get. They get arthritis, they get diabetes. I knew a lady, she used to give her cat insulin shots.
Over the last few years, I have been seeing and hearing that they got insurance now. Stacy will tell me about her fur baby all the time. I'm like, dang, who knew? Because we growing up, the dogs stay outside and you go play with them and he eat whatever we give them and they go out there and catch it. But now they get everything we get. Who knew that these stray animals out here going around spreading FIV and everything else?
Well, remember, at the heart of COVID, the squirrels and birds and animals was getting those. At the zoo, they saw some cats had came down with coronavirus.
So these nasty folks out there sneezing in the dog face, you don't think they're going to catch it?
But they did tell people don't get in your dog's face if you had COVID or your cat's face because it's airborne.
It's airborne. I remember that. And I was like, so are we getting the vaccines to the animals too?
Who knows? They might.
Dang, you got me so much to think about. So now when I see a stray animal and they got I'm thinking, oh, you been out there, you spreading them STIs. So stay over there.
What you go wear your cross and garlic? See them coming, you go put the cross, get away.
You think about it because when we were young, they told us don't pick up bird feathers. You can get whatever, I don't know, but you get sick from the bird feathers. And so now I'm thinking, man, we should extend that. Just don't be out there petting stray animals because you can get licked and get syphilis. I don't know. That might sound ignorant, but
you can get some things because Lyme disease come from ticks.
Yeah. So boy,
this is what it is.
This is where we just need a big walk around and either a bubble or condom or just take it. Just line up and drink all the antiviruses for everything and just go out there. Then for real, you didn't get your pill, you didn't get your swallow, you just out here spreading stuff.
Right.
I mean, and it's bad. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I don't want to, before we leave the conversation, I'd be remiss if I don't mention the Tuskegee experiment about syphilis in Tuskegee, Alabama. And that was from, I believe, 1932 to 1972. And that was when the government went to the poor Black community. I think it was Macon County, Alabama. And they used people, incentivized them for syphilis. They unknowingly infected them, and they withheld treatment. And they allowed those people to go back to their homes and community, their wives, and spread it. And they knew that. I don't want to, and that just stopped in 1972, 40 50 years
40 years.
ago, 53
Yeah.
years ago, something like that, 33 years ago,
When
whatever it
people's
is. I'm
life,
not a math. Yeah. So they
so
did
that's
that. And then they also, right, not too long ago. And there's another one, and it's a little bit off topic, but it was called the Lyle Station Experiment. And that was, I believe, Lyle, Indiana. Look it up. There's a guy, it's called Hole in the Head, WHOLE, HOLE, Hole in the Head. But anyways, the government came to that poor black community and incentivized for treatment for ringworms. Sign up, we'll treat your ringworms. They paid them cash.
what?
And they gave them high dosage of radiation for ringworm. That's why the guy's called Hole in the Head. They gave him so much radiation it burnt the hole in his head. He had to wear a hat.
Wow. And this is why we're begging Black people to go to the doctors now, because they were doing things like this, and Black people don't trust the doctors.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's a legitimate concern. I mean, because of the past history, and even so, but they do have some guardrails up to try to prevent some of those unethical behaviors. But who knows what they do? There was a movie, and it was fiction. It was called, I think it's called The Constant Garden, and it was about HIV meds. And it kind of showed you how the pharmaceuticals were operating to rush those meds to the market, and knowing that those side effects were deadly, and they pushed it anyway. There's a couple books out that I read, and they're very good, and it's hard to read. It took me quite a while to read. One is called Medical Apartheid.
Oh, I'm
book, but
listening to that book right now. Every time I listen to that book, I get pissed off, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, it's a hard read. It took me about 6 months because I got hurt, angry, and it was a lot of emotions. Then you have Medical Bondage is another book, and Killing the Black Body. I think that's by Dorothy Roberts. So those are some good books to read to kind of give you an insight on public health and the medical system in this country and its treatment towards us and other poverty or poor people, because they did the Irish people bad as well in the search for medical research. So just kind of keep that in mind. We do have our legitimate concerns about not trusting the medical system.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if you have Spotify, they have audiobooks. And Medical Bondage, I will be adding because I don't have that one, but Killing the Black Body, and like I said, I have Medical Apartheid. I actually have the book, and I couldn't read it because I was getting mad. So I said, I'm gonna listen to it. It didn't help. I still get mad. But
yeah, it was hard.
It's hard to listen to it and to know that there are so many institutions right now that stand that did those things, like the experiment at UGA. But yet we watch UGA games, and my husband's a huge UGA fan. But to know that it was in the 60s and 70s, some places even 80s. I heard about another experiment in the 80s. They're still doing this. Like, it's in your lifetime. And then you think about things like the HeLa cells. What's her name? Oh, it makes me sound like Henrietta. Like you hear about those things, and her family still hasn't gotten any justice or compensation or anything.
I think they did make a settlement with them, undisclosed, if I'm not mistaken. I think they finally came around to that.
I hope so. Lord, I hope so. I really hope so, because your mama just out here, big piece of her body is here, and that family was not a well-off family. You just decided to take somebody and just,
yeah,
speak straight. I'm so just thinking about it makes me bad.
Yeah, this country has a bad track record of the way it's treated us as a race and others, because in the prison system, the mental hospitals, same thing. They mistreated, used those people without consent, or had them sign it. They didn't know what they were signing to be guinea pigs or experiment. And let us not forget and I know it's off topic or subject, is the quote unquote father of OBGYN, Charles Marion Sims. I think that's his name.
Yes, it is with
He
his
was just,
statue up there.
yeah, is it Charles or James? But nonetheless, awful
Charles.
person. He was an awful person. He bought those slave women specifically to operate on them, and he operated on them numerous of times without any anesthetic, poking, prowling. He was a butcher. He was a butcher, all for his own ego to become an expert in the fistula process. Fine, but he butchered those women and didn't give them no anesthetic, and it was available.
And the baby, you take the shoemakers and ripping the skulls of these babies.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Listen to Dr. Joy DeGrassi, the post-traumatic slave syndrome.
I read it.
Yeah, I got mad at that one too. I was so
it was a hard read. It was
I love her, but yeah, I was so mad at that one. Oh, that one right there. That post-traumatic slave syndrome, it'll make you think about a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
Not just medical. Whew. But see, that's about 15
different.
Yeah, 15 different things. That's why we need to get our shit. That's why we need to get it together. You got to know where you come from, so we can know how to get our shit as we go on. The self-care, the healthcare, this inner peace, all of that stuff can only get better if we know where it was we came from. And these things, these books we just mentioned, listen to these documentaries, man, I'm telling you, the new Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, baby.
Read that one too. Read the 400 Souls, and I think it's Michael Harriot, Black History AF.
Oh, I'm listening to that. I gotta go back. I ran out of hours a couple weeks ago, and I forgot I was listening to that last. I need to go back and do that one because
they talk about some of those crazy experiments that the medical community has done to our people and us.
Man, and I mean, I'm black and I'm proud, so I talk about us a lot, but it wasn't just us. They did a lot of experiments when they drugged the Mexicans, when they took their land and made it America and then tried to kick them out, but that's another here or there. But them, the Irish, like you said, the Chinese, when they said, hey, come over here, let's build trains, just build the railways, and then we don't want you no more. So anybody that they don't want, after they done being used up, they did some horrible.
Yes, they did. As a matter of fact, when you mentioned how they mistreated the Mexicans, they did a washing. So they would come over to work, but they would disinfect them. How embarrassing. Disinfect them. Have them lined up for disinfectant, like you see those people that go into the biohazard and they decontaminate them so they can come back into the population. That's what they did to them, and the torture that they did. Adolf Hitler learned some of his methods from this country.
From us. And we down him. Oh, don't get me wrong, he was horrible. Right. But we down him. Oh, he's so horrible. Where he learning from?
Yep, the torture he learned from here. Absolutely, he did.
And Henry Ford was one of the people that he absolutely adored. We riding around these expeditions and these Mustangs. Read about Henry Ford. I mean, we appreciate him for the barbecue and charcoal too, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, well, from Detroit, of course, I know about Henry Ford. The old man was a piece of work. And the second was the same when they had, and I know we're veering off, but when they had the Pinto, I think it was back in the 70s, they knew that it was a device. If they didn't put it on that gas tank, it would explode. Henry Ford II, Lee Iacocca was over that particular department. They knew it, and they pushed it anyway, saying, the hell with those people if the car explode on whatever. But I mentioned that with Henry Ford. He lobbied hard against that governmental protection agency that was implemented. He did not want it. because it would cut into his profit and forced him to spend money to save people's lives. That's the second. Oh man, that's the second.
Wow. See, we learned some stuff. Now we got to drive something else. I'm telling you, we got to get somebody that makes some cars by Black folks. Granted, there are in Africa. We just need to get them over here some kind of way. But there's some car makers that's over there, and we got to figure out how to get them, because all of these car makers got some horrible past and stories. And we out here riding around these Cadillacs, and when we don't get the credit for saving Cadillac when they didn't want us, but we saved Cadillac. They ain't gonna tell you that story. So we gotta get some. See, look, we be beating them out, but it all ties together. Some kind of way.
It does. It does. But yes. Yeah, but syphilis, again, I do recommend anyone sexually active or think about being sexually active or whatever it is, if you're adult entertainment, film industry, adult film industry, call girl or whatever, walking the streets, get tested regularly and start your treatment to prevent those onset of illnesses or decline, just like with HIV. The sooner you know your status, the better.
I saw somewhere that they have take-home HIV tests. I don't know where I saw that. So that is true. Now,
yes, they
do they have those same tests for other STDs, STIs?
I think you have some people can order those tests online at some of those online stores, but which is fine. Even up here, the health department, if I'm not mistaken, they will distribute those rapid tests to take home. Because I guess the whole thing, they want people to feel comfortable. Because it's a scary test, a potential scary test. So they want people to feel comfortable to take the test, which is good because we can't think one way or a narrow view. We have to think broad because there's so many people affected by this. So that being said, if you do take that test at home, you still have to follow up with a test at some type of medical agency or clinic or facility, because you need further testing. That rapid test, because they have one for syphilis as well, but the rapid test for HIV, you have for in the state of Michigan, I'm pretty sure it's across the country. You have to take, in order to get a diagnosed, you have to take 2 of different manufacturers, and if they both yield a positive, then that is officially diagnosed of being HIV. The rapid syphilis test, it just tells you, it does not diagnose or confirm, shall I say. But it can tell you, I think you got syphilis, go follow up at your doctor and for further testing. So they do have rapid tests out, which is good.
Yeah, because I mean, at least give you an idea of where you are, because people got busy lives. So if you get that negative, you know, 4 more weeks, we try this thing all out again. Because I know I'm okay. So, I mean, I guess that is a good thing, you know. It keeps the congestion down and open for the clinics and doctors' offices for the people who we are confirmed. Because a lot of times, even just getting regular old yearly physicals or checkups, you got to wait 6 months to a year to get just a regular old doctor's visit. So,
and that's regulated by the insurance company. Some of that's regulated by the insurance company. They won't pay for it because I think they only allow an annual physical once a year, unless you got some underlying health reasons or a cause that the doctor can determine or write on there. And Stacy was here; she can give you more detail with that because she's into that medical billing stuff. That insurance, it dictates our health. But it's important for people to know you can always file an appeal. Don't accept that rejection from that insurance company. File an appeal. I've done it several times. That could be for treatment or a test or to see a specialist. They'll reject it, but you can file an appeal. And they send you that when the rejection letter comes, they tell you that you do have a right to appeal. Be your own health advocate. Appeal. And I won mine.
Really?
I won mine.
Because I don't know, again, I was watching something. I'd be listening to all kind of documentaries and stuff, but they are now running these notes and things for doctors through the computers. AI is telling, and if it doesn't see keywords, then it spits it out and it gives you a denial. So you just really don't know. Doing that appeal will at least have to put another set of eyes on it, or a real set of eyes on it. So yeah, you got to be your own advocate, your own person. Fight for yourself, because now that we have ChatGPT reading our records, who knows?
Exactly.
You know, I
But
love
also too, right, in the advocacy component, I tell everyone that I counsel or see, always follow up. Don't assume that you didn't hear anything, that everything is okay. Things can slip through the cracks. Some of that paper can get lost. Sometimes that information may not even come in. So it don't always mean it's bad, but it's always good to follow up, because things can fall through the cracks. So if you went in to take that test, call that doctor's office back, or if they call you, answer the call or the text, or if they send a letter out, respond, so that way they can tell you what's going on. It's not always something bad. It's just, hey, you missed your follow-up appointment. We didn't hear from you. Just want to go over your results. Everything was good. Make sure you do X, Y, Z, or if you have any questions, concerns, you can always follow back up with us or give us a call. You know, to keep it professional, to keep advocate for your health.
Because if you don't, who gonna do it?
Yeah, I tell my clients, your health can be more important to me than it is you. It's your health. My health is important to me. That's why I follow up and be compliant with what I have to do for my health.
You got to do the same. You have to do the same, Shakara. Okay, just had to talk to myself for a second.
Always do the same.
Look, you gotta look at yourself. Look at the man in the mirror sometimes. I know I do. But
yes.
I like this dialogue when we can talk about health. I mean, in any aspect. As you say, we done went all through and up around today. So I would say this, or I ask this question: would you love to be our regular health and wellness, what you say, public health guest on Get Your Shit? Because I love it.
Absolutely, I would, but just remember now, my specialty is with STI, STD, so I can give a little information about the other stuff, but my specialty is in those areas, and I would be more than happy to accommodate you too whenever y'all need me.
All right, now I love it.
Even the political issues, it doesn't matter. I'm cool.
Oh, okay, now, because you know, Lord, you get Stacy going, baby. She and look, and I'd be like, I'd be egging her on. It's beautiful. I definitely will. I like that. And then we have to say once again that the words that are coming out of his mouth is his opinion, and not the opinion, and not the word of any government official, any type of capacities. I'm Mr. Anthony Cain's words. Yep, don't tie what I say back to nobody either, child. Cause and definitely, please don't, Stacy. Don't tie that back.
Exactly.
Don't tie that back. That was her opinion. We'll be off the air. Look. This is all our thoughts and our process. So I really love that, and I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to it, because I got a lot of ideas. We've got a lot of things as far as getting shit together. I really think that having candid conversations versus these a lot of scripted things makes the conversations a little more real and makes it a little more understandable, because you have somebody that don't have no tact like I do, and even more less tact like Stacy, and you kind of calm us down, but yeah, it's still a real conversation, and we can go and we can roll, and it just makes it easy to listen to. It's not so interviewee, even though I love me a good interview, child. But it's not so interview. It's just personal. It's a conversation with someone that can help get your shit together.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And I told you I have a passion for public health. So if any information I can give to help someone along that sexual care or health issues, I am more than happy to contribute my little part about it. But remember, I am not a doctor. I can't diagnose. I can't tell you what to do. I can just give you the information, and it's up to you to take that information and utilize it for yourself.
There it is, y'all. Well, again, thank you, Mr. Anthony. Take this information and get your shit together. That's all I'm gonna say. And until next time, America and beyond, we love you. We thank you, and just have a good night.
Hey, bro, we on the radio.